Yo, what's going on, Vikings fans? Skol side back again with another Minnesota Vikings video. Waking up on Victory Monday. We just beat those grimy Green Bay Packers. And honestly, we should all be feeling really good right now. Anyways, see by the title, it's who showed up, who didn't. I do this every week on Victory, or I guess Lost Monday, where we take 5 people who showed up this week and 3 who didn't, and then if we lost, it would be opposite: 3 people who showed up, 5 who didn't. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about because we had a lot of standout players today. Anyways, we beat Green Bay, the playoff run. We're running the table. It starts now. Anyways, guys, let's get right into the video. Well, first player who showed up, damn, if you're a fantasy owner, you probably noticed this, is Dalvin Cook. What do you have? 236 yards, 4 touchdowns, ran all over Green Bay. And the thing about Dalvin was he just controlled the game. You know, not many times in the NFL where you see a running back, I guess, dominate and control the game. And that's what he did. He came in and he just, they couldn't tackle him. Every time he got in space, I felt like that was a touchdown. Every time he got the ball, there was like that big play threat. And it's when he didn't even get those big plays, it was 5, it was 6, it was 7, it was 8. He ran all over him. He had 163 yards on the ground and then 60 more through the air. Led us in receiving by 40 yards, led us in rushing by, of course, 160 yards. Dalvin Cook earned his paycheck. Yes, he has his injury problems, but I'm happy we paid him. And I think the gap between Dalvin Cook and Madison, even though I love Madison, is starting to show. And I guess the gap between Dalvin Cook and the rest of the NFL running backs is starting to show. Dalvin Cook, props to you, dominated this ball game. Anyways, he was the main guy who really showed up yesterday. All right, and now the second guy who really stood out to me was Eric Kendricks. What more do I have to say about him? He has 78 tackles on the season. That's second in the league. He has led the Vikings in tackles the past 5 seasons. He just keeps getting better. Every single year, he adds another layer to him. He adds another element. It is just incredible to watch him play. He's the best run-stopping linebacker in the league, and he might be also the best coverage linebacker. If you guys remember that when the Packers were 1st and 30, they ran Devontae Adams on a streak from the slot, knowing Eric Kendricks is going to be the dude that has to pick him up. And the Vikings were fine. They said, you can challenge him with your best receiver, with one of the best receivers in the league. That's the faith they have in Eric Kendricks. Eric Kendricks is one of the best players in the National Football League right now. He might be the best. No, he is the best middle linebacker in the league. And frankly, I don't know how it's not close. He was an All-Pro last year, and it just really bugs me that he doesn't get the household name recognition as a Bobby Wagner, as a Luke Kuechly. Eric Kendricks is becoming one of my favorite Vikings of all times because he just shuts up and does his work. He comes to work every single day, gets better. Every single year you see another layer of him. And the thing that shocks me the most is the way an offensive line helps a running back is the same way a defensive line helps a linebacker. And with the in and out defensive line, with the struggling defensive line at times this year, he has stayed solid. And I couldn't even imagine what this defense would look like without him, because he is just the glue holding it all together. He's not playing with a bunch of all-pros like you see these other guys are. He is just holding this defense down, and he's the best player on our defense right now. And God, I just wish Danielle Hunter was here to share it with them. But anyways, Eric Kendricks, hell of a game yesterday. 11 tackles, great in coverage and big plays, big moments. Eric Kendricks, props to you. You were the Dalvin Cook of the defense yesterday. Anyways, Eric Kendricks showed up and played his ass off. All right, now the third group, or people who showed up, was that young defensive line. Damn, was I impressed. You know, Andre Patterson, he does a little pregame show, the defensive line coach for the Minnesota Vikings, and he said, we'll be fine. The defensive line will be fine. And he was right. Jaleel Johnson, thank God. It's about time. He was huge in the run. I love seeing Armon Watts there. And, of course, the next Danielle Hunter, as we all call him, DJ Wonnum, with the game-winning strip sack on Aaron Rodgers. That picture of Aaron Rodgers getting his ass kicked by DJ Wonnum, I love it. DJ Wonnum, hell of a game. Ifedi Listen, I was on Ifedi's ass earlier this year. I was coming at him. I was saying he was not playing good. He was having a regressing year. Damn, he took a 180 on that. Because ever since that Seattle game, even against Atlanta when nothing was going right, he was good. Hell of a game yesterday, creating pressures. Yes, they did not get the sacks on Rodgers, but the pressures they had, fantastic. The young defensive line, they played hard. They were getting gritty. They shut down the run in the second half, which was huge. They made Rodgers uncomfortable with only 4-man rushes against that good Packers offensive line. I'm excited to see those 4 develop, and I think that's who we're going to be rolling with, as you saw the 4 who started yesterday, and throwing in guys like DJ Wonnum. Yes, I would like to see James Lynch play a little more. However, defensive line, hell of a game yesterday. Props to you guys. And now the 4th person and group who showed up, Ezra Cleveland, and the whole right side of the offensive line, and the offensive line as a whole. But I just mainly want to focus on Ezra Cleveland, Brian O'Neill, and Garrett Bradbury. Those 3, there is just such a dog to them, and you watch the way they move and they get up to the second level, and they don't care that you're like, they are burying dudes. I mean, Ezra Cleveland, like, he is just a hustler. He can move for being 6'6", like 350. Listen, Bradbury too, I want to give a shout out to him because he is just playing like a dog. He has been developing so much in his second year, and finally I can start yesterday I felt like this offensive line came together. There was no hole in the offensive line like there was with Samia. And Ezra Cleveland starting to get a hang of it. Brian O'Neill, yes, there were sloppy penalties on the offensive line at sometimes. But damn, hell of a game from the O-line, which was shocking. Going against Za'Darius Smith and Preston Smith. Do you guys remember last year on that Monday night, Za'Darius Smith had 3.5 sacks. They shut that down. I mean, all of Dalvin's big runs came on the right side. On the screen play he took for a touchdown, you just see Brian O'Neill come from the right tackle position, moving the secondary all around. Dalvin Cook breaking tackles. Listen, it was a clinic by the offensive line in the run game yesterday. Really good. The only one sack that they really gave up to Cousins, he kind of just came free. Anyways, offensive line, great job. Ezra Cleveland, hell of a bounce back game from Atlanta. He looked great yesterday. Bradbury developing. Brian O'Neill, right side of offensive line, I love right now. I think that's the right side of the future. Anyways, O-line, good job. All right, and the last group of people who showed up, I know there's a lot of Zimmer haters out there, but Mike Zimmer and Gary Kubiak. Starting with Zimmer. No Danielle Hunter, no Michael Pierce, no Anthony Barr, no more Rhodes, no more Linval, no more Everson Griffin, no more Mackenzie Alexander. Dantzler goes down with an injury. Anthony Harris is regressing. They are playing with a bunch of rookies and a bunch of practice squad guys, and Zimmer dealt up a defensive game plan to just contain Rodgers. Yes, Rodgers had his numbers, Devontae Adams had his numbers, but they didn't gash us. It wasn't that sense of holy shit like in the first week where it's like we can't get a stop. We got timely stops in the second half. Yes, the offense did a great job of keeping the defense off the field, but credit Mike Zimmer when it's due. He imagined what he could do with this defense next year, with Danielle Hunter coming back, with that big boy Michael Pierce, with all these young guys continuing to develop. Listen, he was playing with guys who I wouldn't even thought have been playing at the beginning of the year. Credit Mike Zimmer where it is, and Gary Kubiak, hell of a game plan. Give the ball to your best player and have Cousins be a game manager, and Cousins played really well yesterday. He made key third down throws, and that's what we needed. We took the life out of the stadium, we took the life out of the Packers, and we punched them in the mouth. And that's what running the ball can do to a team. Especially the Packers are not a physical team. They're a very weak team. They don't like when you get punched in the mouth, they don't respond well. That's what the Vikings did. Credit to the coaching staff. Hell of a game plan. All right, now I hate doing this, but we need to talk about who didn't show up. And it was Jeff Gladney. He's the first one. Listen, he just lost his coverage a little bit sometimes, and he's developing. It's a learning experience. I'm not going to talk about who didn't show up that much, but you saw Zimmer getting on him. I'm hoping that doesn't happen again. And you got to admit, Gladney's the only corner out there, and he had a rough game. However, I think it's just going to be a learning experience. He's going to pick it up. I'm not really that worried about Gladney. I like how he's very aggressive. I just wish he would harness it a little more and be more of a more locked in. Yeah, I think sometimes he gets so in his head, and sometimes I just want him to play. like play. When you see a dude cross your face, go follow him. As you saw on the 2 Devontae Adams touchdowns, they're mainly on him, and also a couple other plays during the game. Gladney, he didn't play extremely well yesterday. However, he was without Dantzler for most of the game. Anyways, Jeff Gladney didn't really show up. We're not going to talk about it that much. Now, the second group of people who didn't show up, this is going to be quick, but the Vikings training staff, damn, can we stop with the injuries? Obviously, it's not all their fault, but prayers up to Cameron Dantzler. I mean, that was an awful thing to witness, but we need to chill out with these injuries in the secondary. I mean, especially, but the Vikings training staff obviously didn't show up. Now, the third person, it was just penalties as a whole. I thought the Vikings, yes, we didn't have a ton, but I thought it was some timely penalties that kind of killed us. Obviously, the refs played a part in that game yesterday. I mean, I think they were fair both ways. I think both teams had bad calls made against them, or especially with the Packers, they had a lot of non-calls on them. Anyways, penalty as a whole, a little sloppy from the Vikes, but anyways, hell of a game from the Vikings. Hell of a game for the people who showed up. Anyways, leave a like on the video, comment down below. Vikings about to run the table. You're hearing it right now. Anyways, guys, Skol Vikes. Subscribe for more Minnesota Vikings takes if you haven't already. We do this every day. See you guys later. Peace.